All right, let's get this started. Welcome to day 2.5, I guess. Day two, part two of IJL. Well, semifinals at this point. Part of the finals weekend brackets. We are going to be watching Zeta versus Fennel today, which I am always so excited to be commentating for, and also just watching Zeta play. They are, I think they're the IJL running champion of about 3 or 4 IJLs. I don't remember the exact number, but they are the defending title holder in the Japan region. So, and they have earned that by and large. So their free ticket into the semifinals was not an easy fight, and yeah, it's very deserved. Very much a Fennel is definitely the underdog coming into this match. So very excited to see what happens here, what they're able to accomplish against such a powerful team. So without further ado, or I guess with a little bit of further ado, I'll end up repeating this later, but yeah, this is gonna be the only stream today. I'm not sure if I'm going to do 2 streams tomorrow or if I'll just do 1 stream and then finish up IJL on Tuesday. I'll see what happens. But yeah, since it's Christmas, I'll probably just do 1 stream because I know people are going to be less available. Either way, I am going to get right into it. So for round 1, we will be on Ever Sleeping Town. I don't know if I actually. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah. We will be on Ever Sleeping Town, which is a very good map for Opera Singer. Now we have seen that some of the Japanese teams have been opting to not go with the Opera Singer in the first round. So it's definitely very possible that Hasha will choose to go with a Dream Witch rather than the Opera Singer. That definitely worked for him yesterday. So, or as we saw yesterday, so we will see. But Zeta coming out right away with that anti-Opera Singer team comp. We are bringing out the Gardener as well as the First Officer, who I'm a little bit surprised to see this early on, but that does leave the Mercenary on the table for later matches. It does mean that they're down kind of a backup rescuer, with that First Officer being instantly banned. We will not be seeing that First Officer through the rest of the matches, but bringing out the First Officer now is definitely very strong pick if Hasha ends up going with the Opera Singer. So we're also going to lock in the Acrobat as well as the Aeroplanist. We've been seeing a lot of Aeroplanists this weekend since he has just been added to the competitive scene. He's kind of been filling that role of the Mercenary, of the Patient, being that very strong distance breaker with the jetpack. Really does just serve the same purpose as the elbow pads or the hooks. So he's a very good backup and somebody who doesn't get banned as much. It does kind of force the Hunter to think about using those bans instead of for Patient, use it for Aeroplanist instead. But our bans right here are going to be Antiquarian, Seer, Priestess, and Embalmer. Embalmer is a little bit interesting. I do wonder if maybe maybe banning the Aeroplanist might have been a little bit more effective here since he has been picked so often, but I guess Embalmer, I mean, maybe Zeta would have gone with an Embalmer just to try and have that little extra security there with such a powerful team with that Gardener. And I know they do go Embalmer first round pretty often. They've been putting Doliso on Embalmer. Or no, Hametu has been playing Embalmer pretty often in round 1 against Opera Singer, so I do actually understand that ban, thinking back to other Zeta matches that I've watched. So, yeah, that does make sense on further review that the Embalmer was banned, though we are going to see the Aeroplanist instead, who is arguably a much better container than the Embalmer. Embalmer does have a lot of potential to waste time, so again, that does make the ban make sense, but we are going to still have a pretty formidable foe. With our spawns, we're going to see that the Aeroplanists are going to spawn in the center 2-story building. Acrobat spawning in the center here. First Officer is going to spawn over at the double 11 palleted area near the fake gate, and Gardener is going to spawn near the corner house. So a pretty good spawn here. Acrobat definitely has a clear route here, even if he is the first chase, can definitely rotate into that center house where the Aeroplanist is. Aeroplanists rotate away from that, and Acrobat will be able to use that whole kiting area. So there's a lot of potential here, as well as potential for teammate support. with the gardener, as well as with the acrobat, able to kind of use those bombs to harass kites potentially. Although in this situation, it's probably more likely that the acrobat's going to use his resources on his own kite, which is still just as good. It's not a bad team comp. It's a very good team comp against the opera singer. But there is still, it is still an opera singer. This is post-nerf opera singer. Once again, we are working with a lot closer to the latest patch of IDV. So Mercenary has been nerfed, Seer has been nerfed, Opera Singer has been nerfed. So 3 very big powerhouses have been nerfed before this final round of IJL. So we're definitely seeing that come into play, but we will be getting into the first round here. Hasha is going to come through the center looking for that acrobat right now. We'll see if he ends up staying on that route, but regardless, we are seeing that trump card detention and I believe blink coming into this match. I didn't quite catch the persona webs before, but we're already seeing a lot of distance broken by these survivors, and it looks like we might end up finding the aeroplanist here, which is Kazuneko, which is a little bit dangerous here. It actually looks like Hasha either didn't see him or is going to just change targets knowing that that is Kazuneko, and very, very likely you will be kited pretty hard if you go after Kazuneko. Kazuneko is kind of insane. I do hope that we end up seeing Kazuneko Entomologist later on in these rounds. Anyway, we have finally found our acrobat, so Dolisu will be taking the kite here. Good pallet drop there, just forcing Hasha to waste even more time breaking it. Not quite able to catch up just yet. And playing around this pallet here as well, and a beautifully placed firebomb right in that little kind of hallway, and not allowing Hasha to dash or use any of his skills for a short period of time. So very nicely done. We are going to force Blink out here, which is good to get our first hit, but we already have 1 Cypher almost decoded, 2 Cyphers passing halfway right now. So a lot of Cypher rush is happening. I do wonder if Basement is in the graveyard, because that's not going to be great for Dolisu in the long run. If we continue to kite around the graveyard. With him staying in the graveyard, though, I do think that Basement isn't here, just because he hasn't decided to transition away from it. But playing around this palette here, nice bomb, though not taking that vault, making it a little bit more difficult for Hasha to use that Shadow Dance. And Hasha's just going to break the pallet here, knowing that Dolisu can and will just continue to vault over that pallet, use it. But we are going to get our first down here. But 2 Cyphers have already popped. 1 Cypher is nearly completed. That is a very good 3 Cypher kite to start us off, and not looking great for Hasha in this situation. I would say a draw at best. But this is really not kind of a landscape that you want to start out with looking at kind of your powerful first round. No Hunter bans in play. We're going to bring out the Opera Singer, but with what result, we'll just have to see. Obviously, anything can happen. But we are going to have Kazuneko on the rescue. Airplanes was carrying Tide here, so Dolisu does have quite a bit of time to waste. Even if he does get hit, we still have Tide Turner in play. So we will continue this kite around the 11 area here. Hasha is going to double back, but a beautiful bomb just to get right back over that pallet. And very, very good mind games here. This is why Acrobat is picked so often, especially on Every Sleeping Town. There are so many areas for him to utilize his bombs, able to kite so well with them, and also force the Hunter into kind of those status effect range. But a Terra Shock here is going to bring Dolisu down. And we are at 1 Cypher remaining, which is passing 60% now, almost at 70% by the time Dolisu sees his second chair. So this is very, very, very good kite, as well as just very good Cypher rush. A wonderful start here for ZETA. Coming into this first round. Already, we're going to see that Mochi is just going to wait out until that Cypher is primed, and that is Pirate Radio. So for those of us who are a little bit tired of Goro Akechi Jose, not to worry. But we're just going to play around this chair for a little bit, looking for a last-second rescue here, and we're going to get the hidden on Mochi, it looks like, but not going to pop the Cypher just yet. It looks like they might be waiting for Dolisu to get away from the gate and try to get into a better position, but we will be taking the Basic hit here, and Zeta will pop the final cipher. So we have switched to teleport. Hametu is going to take this chase, and a nice use of that tram, just getting right on the tram. Hasha, though, is going to be able to catch up very quickly. As, you know, is typical for an opera singer, she can just traverse the map like this. So she will be waiting by the time Hametu gets off the tram, which isn't ideal, but it still does waste quite a bit of time. Yeah, we are going to instantly go down there, but that's still pretty much a confirmed 3-man escape here at the very least. They can, I mean, they don't have any tide turners remaining on the team. Mochi and Kazuneko were both forced to use their tide, and yeah, they will just be taking that escape. No need to really push it yet for a 4-man. They could have probably sweat for that 4-man if they really wanted to, but it's still round 1. Getting a 3-man escape is much better than, you know, ending up with a draw because they pushed too hard. Taking the path of least resistance to that win is always a very, very good strategy. So that is a really good start here for Zeta, getting a 3-man escape against Hasha's opera singer. I wonder if it would have been, I mean, because the thing is that Hasha is still a very, very good Dream Witch, and I wonder if things might have been different if he opted to go with Dream Witch for that match. We did again see a lot of not picking the opera singer in round 1 yesterday. But you know, it is what it is, and it's just a little bit unfortunate to have that kind of a start. But once again, best of 5 is still best of 5. There are still, at the very least, you know, there's the second half of this round as well as another, at the very least, 2 rounds, if not 3, 4, etc. For FL to make up those points. And yeah, it's a rough start here, but again, we still have their survivor side to come out here as well as the remaining rounds. So moving on, if I'm able to get the time correct there. Yep, we will be heading into the second half of round 1 here with Miraikon as Zeta's hunter. For their round 1, Miraikon does play opera singer, so I would definitely expect to see another opera singer coming out here. We are going to ban the priestess and the antiquarian, so definitely good choices here. FL probably would have brought out that priestess or something very risky, seeing as they do need a pretty extreme result to look at tying or winning this round 1. So they are going to lock in just regular opera singer counters here with the gardener and the coordinator right away, and also bringing out the acrobat. Again, we did just see how strong that acrobat can be on Ever Sleeping Town. It's really obviously up to the individual player, but acrobat is a very, very strong kiter, so I'm not surprised to see him here. We are going to ban the seer as well as the embalmer once again. And bringing out that entomologist to round out our lineup. Entomologist is not a bad choice here. Definitely. I feel like she doesn't really particularly counter the opera singer. I would say Fennel is looking more towards having her support on the team. She's not as strong of a container because there's really, you know, the bees are do provide a speed boost, but they don't really block any of the opera singer's skills. There's not really a specific counter there for her. So I do wonder if maybe a patient, maybe a mercenary. I guess they are prioritizing Cypher Rush, but even then a patient and Aeroplanus would have been, you know, good here. But again, you know, if they want that entomologist on their team, then she's never a bad choice. Entomologist is never a bad choice. She is very, very meta. But yeah, I mean, most of the roster, I think I went through like a month or two ago. I went through the survivor roster and kind of marked off like every survivor that is meta. I think out of the roster, I think there's about like 40 something odd survivors. About 30 of them are, yeah, this makes sense to pick in a tournament. And then the other 10 are like questionable, but still like have been used at least once. Every survivor, I think every single survivor has been used at least once. And we've been seeing survivors like Magician, Perfumer. The early survivors in the roster are kind of coming back. Lawyer has been meta for this entire competitive season. So it really is like there's no bad survivor on the roster, as opposed to the Hunter roster, you know. Hunter goes. I mean, I guess there's no bad hunters. The difference is that the worst hunters take so much more skill to play. Like, Mad Eyes. Mad Eyes is an absolutely insane overpowered hunter if the hunter knows how to use him. If they don't know how to use him, it's basically over. So yeah, having those there's a bit more of a difficulty curve, which is why there's more hunters that are not meta. It's much harder to win as hunter once you reach kind of this high tier competitive scene. But that is I have gotten very, very off topic. My apologies. So yeah, that is, Entomologist is not a bad pick to end that off. But we will be getting the persona waves here that I will remember to go through before the match. Looks like we are carrying Borrowed Time and Broken Windows on the Gardener, Acrobat, and the Entomologist. Coordinator is going to also have Broken Windows as well as Tide Turner. And it looks like we've actually opted for Excitement here. Miraicon looking for possibly a Coordinator first chase, or at the very least just looking to disrupt that Coordinator, and not really relying on Blinks. That's definitely very confident here from Miraicon. We'll just have to see how this goes. But it looks like we are actually getting that Acrobat as our first chase here once again, but being found a lot faster. And wow, a beautiful hit just on the edge of the Opera Singer's hitbox right through that window. And it's a very early first hit, barely 30 seconds into the match here. That is a really, really strong start here from Miraicon. And a little bit of a misplaced bomb there from Cat. I do wonder if he had maybe expected Miraicon to kind of stay in that shadow area. Regardless, it is going to be avoided here. We're going to use our second movement bomb, but Miraicon's going to double back here, barely missing that hit on Cat, and this chase will continue throughout the graveyard. We are going to walk into that mud bomb here, so it's not going to go to waste as the firebomb did, but with a beautiful hit just walking straight through that pallet, Acrobat is going to go down. So that is a barely over a minute here. It looks like we are pretty much at a 2 for Kite, but that is such a fast down. Miraicon really showing just how strong Opera Singer still is, even post-nerf. Like, that's the thing. We are working with post-nerf, and it really does, it feels like we're kind of back at the beginning when it comes to watching hunters play Opera Singer. But Coordinator in the area here, but Excitement is going to be activated. We are looking at playing around here, looking for that before half rescue, and that is a Terror Shock on the chair. Mono P is going to be stuffed. What an incredible start here for Miraicon. Oh my goodness, that is just so unfortunate here for Fennel. Oh my goodness. And yeah, it's just not a good start, but it really does show, the control that Miraicon's able to have over this match with these mind games. Just, I don't think... No! The chair taking off! Looks like Entomologist was, again, a little bit afraid of getting that Terror Shock that we've just seen Miraicon be very, very capable of, and that chair is just going to take off. Entomologist taking a normal hit there, which is better than a Terror Shock on a failed rescue, but without being able to get that rescue off, it's just a little bit unfortunate there. We will be returning. It does look like Mono P was able to get healed up without utilizing that self-heal, so that is very good heading into the later stages of this match. You definitely want to have that self-heal when you're working with an Opera Singer in a situation like this, because 99% chance you're going to end up on the ground for a very long time once we enter the latter stages of the game, slugging, etc. And Mono P is going to go down, unfortunately, over the basement. I would say at this point, they should probably sell, because it's a basement rescue. None of them have tied. Basement rescue against an Opera Singer at that. She doesn't really have a great camp, but because she's so fast, basement rescuing against her, there's not a lot of ways to really effectively escape that, because she can, just place shadow decoys all around the basement, teleport back to them, hit you at the bottom of the basement and then teleport back to the top of the stairs, that sort of thing. But yeah, it does look like they are going to sell Mono P here. As I was saying, that is kind of the only option. At this point, the best case scenario for Fennel is going to be maybe a one-man escape. But that does depend on how much they're able to spread out these ciphers and how much they're able to play kind of the inevitable slug game. Unless they're able to rotate well enough to kind of occupy Miraicon until that cipher pop. But yeah, we are entering the part where this is going to be a very long match. Miraicon has found the dungeon here, is definitely going to take note of that location. Does have tinnitus, so definitely looking for the survivor in the area, but it does look like Kit hiding in that corner, but with the entomologist costume there being bright white, Kit is just going to go straight down. That's unfortunate there. I maybe Datura would have been able to hide from that Wicked Witch, but Professor of Zoology and Botany is really not going to have a lot of stealth capabilities in that situation. So that's a little bit unfortunate there. But yeah, with the Umpi hasn't actually seen the hunter this entire match. We have not encountered the gardener. So that time is going to come to an end soon with Miraicon on the lookout here, and it looks like we might catch sight of that blood trail. Yes, we are going to see that blood trail here heading towards the gardener, and this is really, we are just entering kind of the infinite slug game. So for the interest of time and also for the interest of interest, I am going to speed this up a little bit just because this is going to be a very long endgame here. Looks like, yeah, priming the bubble there. Going to activate the bubble. Unfortunately, it's just not going to be hit. And we are getting into the part where they bleed out for a really long time. So this is a strategy that we see a lot in tournament where they will wait. We can see here that Entomologist is waiting until basically she is bled out to self-heal. That way, when she's inevitably found again, she will just die immediately, and that does increase the chances of the other remaining survivor to be able to dungeon escape. Because, you know, when there are two survivors bleeding out, obviously you can't enter the dungeon, it's still going to be locked. So it is a viable strategy. It's just a very long and drawn out and not incredibly interesting to watch strategy. But yeah, we are going to see both of them have self-healed here. Entomologist is okay. They're both in the same area. They're going to play around these pallets for a while. Miraicon does not have Blink here, does still have Excitement. But yeah, just not wanting to hit the Entomologist, it looks like. It looks like our strategy here is probably going to be to chair the Gardener. We did actually see this yesterday, where the Hunter targeted the survivor who was about to bleed out, and then or targeted the survivor who wasn't about to bleed out, but the survivor who was about to bleed out did end up getting dungeon. We're going to switch to Patroller here, which is a little bit interesting. I guess Miraicon trying to not have Kit body block as effectively, but it really is just, wow, this is... It's a losing situation here because they're both in the area. Like I was saying, this strategy really worked yesterday because Hunter was not able to find the last remaining survivor until it was too late and the dungeon escape was open. But yeah, this is... Oh wow, heading right to the dungeon with an escort of Melly and the bees. Both of them, all of them here know that if Entomologist takes a hit, she is going to die right away. And Gardener will be able to escape through that dungeon. So it was a very smart kind of escort move there, going for that pallet stun, and yeah, they are just waiting and waiting. Entomologist actually going ahead to heal the Gardener, knowing that Miraicon has no choice but just kind of let that happen, but going for the bees hit there, this is just fascinating to watch, honestly. Gardener with the bubble up, which I wonder if it would be, well, I mean, I guess it wouldn't really be safe to hit the bubble, but Patroller coming out once again, actually latching onto the Gardener here. Are we going to be able to get that hit? Yes, we are going to be able to get the hit in on the Gardener, so she will likely be chaired, but wait, Kit going for the force heal, knowing that once again, if Miraicon enters attack recovery, it will give Umpi enough time to crawl towards that dungeon. So once again, I am going to fast forward a little bit. This is just absolutely insane. And just what tenacity here from FL Survivors, pushing it this far. It's going for the repeat heal, but it does look like we were able to share Unpi. Kit taking a little bit of an interesting route there is going to get Terra Shocked, and it actually looks like we may have had enough time to down the Gardener if the Entomologist was hit, but that game of cat and mouse is going to come to an end. Yeah, a very, very entertaining round there. But that really just does go to show, you know, ZETA may have the upper hand here, but Fennel did not get here for nothing. They do still have that fighting spirit here, even up against such a large opponent. But we are going to end round one with a very big, a very big point deficit here, with 8 points going to ZETA, and only 1 point being earned by Fennel. So that is going to be a 7-point difference here at the end of round one, which is not impossible to come back from, but it is very difficult here, especially now that we are heading into the later rounds with more Hunter bans, more Survivor bans, and ZETA's their main Hunter, who is Alf, who has a very, very deep Hunter pool, all of whom are very, very strong. It's very hard to start banning Alf. They're really going to have to depend on Hasha to get some points on the board, but of course, ZETA's Survivor team is also very, very strong. So it is a little bit of... It's a matchup, that's for sure. It is a matchup here. But anything can happen, once again, you know? We've seen upsets here before. So I would not, you know, you can never call it until it's completely over, and that is always going to be true, and it's just as true here. I undershot the timestamp by just a little bit, so we are going to skip forward to that. Okay, here we are. Gardener and Coordinator are banned permanently here, and we will be momentarily seeing the Survivor bans. Okay, those are going to be Seer and Antiquarian. Zebras. Yeah. I can see where that metaphor kind of happened, but yeah, it looks like Fennel is kind of deciding here what to ban for a Hunter. They are going to go with the Opera Singer. Yeah, that is the thing with Alf's Hunter pool. He does have a Geisha. He does have, well, Guard 26 isn't wonderful on Moonlit. But with the Geisha, Bloody Queen, Dream Witch maybe, but point being that Alf does have a very wide Hunter pool and a lot of Hunters who can be very powerful on Moonlit River Park. While it's not the best map for Opera Singer, it's certainly not a bad map for Opera Singer, and it's really not... You know, you don't want to allow Alf to play Opera Singer. That's kind of the end game here. So Fennel choosing to go with a just banning that Opera Singer, taking whatever it is that Alf decides to throw at them, without having the Opera Singer still on the table. But we are going to lock in the Acrobat, the Female Dancer, and the Forward here. So really looking for this kind of aggressive kite across the board here, kind of making it difficult for Alf to choose a first chase. At this point, I feel like maybe their ideal first chase would be the Dancer, possibly, maybe the Acrobat, but... And there we are with that heavy kite lineup. We are going to lock in the Cheerleader just to round it off. Cheerleader, once again, such a strong containment character, and also has a lot of opportunity for teammate support. So we did see Fennel really effectively utilize a Cheerleader in yesterday's matches that we watched. So having that Cheerleader kind of come back and perform once again here is... Or the other day's matches, my bad. It's been a minute since we watched Fennel. Yesterday was Scars versus AWG, and if you missed that stream, it is on my YouTube as well as on Twitch. So yeah, it's preserved for posterity, unless I've decided to delete it, but I'm not going to do that. Anyway, that's a lot of words here. I would definitely expect the Forward to be carrying Tide, unless they decide to go with some kind of crazy no Tide comp, but I would say they're probably going to have the forward carry tide here. But we did actually see a few cheerleaders carrying Tide Turner. Because she is such a strong kiter, she can kind of afford to not carry Tide. So we could see a cheerleader Tide situation. It would be kind of crazy, but we could, maybe. Anyway, we're going to see that Geisha locked in by Alf, which is not surprising here. Geisha is very strong on Moonlit River Park, one of the only hunters along with Bloody Queen, Hermit, I believe, in certain situations, who can cross that center river. So yeah, a very strong choice here and a very aggressive choice. We have seen Alf Geisha time and time again. Very, very aggressive, and just very powerful of a hunter, as is, to be expected of Alf. But yeah, we are going to see cheerleader spawn at the 4th stop, acrobat spawn at the 1st stop, dancer spawn in the 2-story building, and forward as bait on that open bridge. And it looks like we may actually see that forward be first chase here, with Alf choosing to spawn directly next to him. I would definitely be interested to see if we end up going with that forward for first chase or switching to possibly the cheerleader, maybe the dancer, but she is in such a strong area that it may not be the best choice or the best case scenario. Cheerleader as well is not a great first chase just because her skill is rechargeable and also has no cooldown. There's a little bit more grace period there with a forward who can still dash. It does kind of hinder him for the rest of the match if he's forced to use the entirety of his football at once to kite. He won't be able to have that harassment capability or any sort of rebound post chair kite opportunity, or at least less of one the more of his ball is used in the first chase. Anyway, it is possible for a Geisha to catch up to, say, a forward or a cheerleader, but we're actually going to see the acrobat carrying Tide, which does make sense here with the spawns that they went with. They were probably expecting that forward to possibly get first chase, despite the fact that forward generally isn't the first chase. And hunters don't really go towards that spawn on the bridge here or near the bridge. But we will be seeing that forward become our first chase as we enter the 2nd round here. So just to briefly recap, ZETA is in the lead by many, many points as well as 1 round. So that is how we're looking after round 1. But we will be getting a nice butterfly onto the forward and an unfortunate missed heavy hit there. But with that butterfly on the forward, that does make it a little bit more difficult for him to use his ball after that initial one. Obviously, the dash was in cooldown because it had been used prior. But we are looking at a little bit of a red light trick here from Alf trying to lure Mono P deeper into that tent. But a very good loop here by Mono P. It is, Geisha does suffer from tight kiting, and a very nice use of that ball there as well from Mono P, transitioning back over to that pallet as well as the opening of the tent. It does look like we are going to get our first hit here, but no, flywheel coming into play. Very nicely done by Mono P. We do have Blink. Forcing Blink here would definitely be very good for FL, sending that skill into cooldown, and it looks like we are going to use the last, or at least nearly the last of our ball to get to that pallet once again, but we are going to take a first hit of the match here, but already our ciphers are nearly completed, as well after half. And it looks like, wow, a beautiful area set up here by Fennel with 3 music boxes here to slow Alf down. But, oh no, missing that body block there from the cheerleader and not quite having enough support for a built-in borrowed time situation. That is just a little bit unfortunate there, and we are going to see Mono P go down. But that was a very good opening kite, but it did exhaust a lot of resources. Now, those resources were exhausted on both sides, so we did see I think there's maybe a sliver of that ball left from Mono P, but yeah, it was a lot of resources used on that first chase with not a lot of potential for a rebound kite here. It really does depend on how that last kite is done, but with 2 survivors in the area here, that does mean much less decoding. We are going to get a nice bomb in there, just to slow Alf down at least momentarily, and with none of that football left here, Mono P is not going to be able to get away. Will be going down after the duration of Tide Turner, although we do have Tide Turner or the remainder of Tide Turner to work with. MonoP dying in a very inconvenient corner here, just to kind of throw Alf for a bit of a loop. We are getting a little bit of that cipher progress back here. We have our last 3 ciphers started, with the third one at about sitting at 75% there, working on 2 more. But it does look like one of those ciphers is going to get disrupted here, as Alf heads into the tent. But are we going to go to rescue? This is the real question. It does look like Kit is in the area ready to rescue. We can definitely rescue pretty safely here. Geisha is a single hit hunter. But Unpi also coming into the area ready to rescue here. There isn't much support to be done other than from the cheerleader. And we are going to see, it looks like, did Kit take that hit? I do think Kit took that hit there. So very nicely done with that support as well as body blocking. We are going to continue on with that cheer. If we are able to get to 28 points of that cheer, MonoP will be able to basically have a built-in borrowed time when he goes down, and we are getting very close to that 28 number. 27, 28, we will be able to have that built-in borrowed time, making it very difficult for Alf here. What a comeback. We are seeing those ciphers. Both of them are going to pop very shortly, and right there we are seeing that borrowed time kick in. MonoP is going to get right back up here. Kit also assisting that kite. That cipher is still sitting at 75%. So if Alf is able to hit MonoP before that cipher's pop, we will have a confirmed elimination. But what a way to turn that match around here from Fennel with that cheerleader support. This is why I have been very afraid of cheerleader being led into tournament, because you can do things like that, just absolutely changing the trajectory of a match pretty dramatically. I mean, it did take obviously a lot of time for Alf to really get to MonoP, but with the assistance of that cheerleader, they were able to push it even longer, get those second to last 2 ciphers decoded, and that final cipher is still sitting at 75%. Now, I do think it is pretty much all the way across the map, so it is going to take some time for Fennel to get back to it, but it is still at 75%, and I don't think Alf knows where it is. So that definitely brings in a lot to the latter half of this match. And we also did force Alf into using Blink. Now, it is only, 40-something seconds away at this point, but there is a possibility, or it does, actually, with it having that much time left on it, it doesn't really make much difference heading into endgame with the trade switch, but it is what it is. Anyway, we are going to get Cat down with a very nice hit through that pallet. Beautiful mind games played there. We still haven't been able to make it back to that cipher. However, we were able to reset both of the remaining survivors. So they're both at full health. Umpi doesn't have any items left, with all of those boxes having been broken after being used to support the kite. But we have returned to that 75% cipher. It will be primed by the time Acrobat is off chairs. So that cipher is primed now. We will be able to pop it right away for Acrobat. Again, all survivors do have borrowed time here, and that is going to activate now. So very nicely done here. It does look like Alf has switched to teleport. No survivors are at the gate just yet. It does look like, did Acrobat take that coaster? Yes, he did take that coaster. Cheerleader is taking the kite, but we are just going to teleport over to Unpi, and a beautiful flywheel just to get through that pallet, but a nice butterfly as well, not allowing the not being afraid of these pallets. And that really is the marker of a great geisha, is not being afraid of those pallets, walking right through them, playing those mind games, and really being able to kind of take advantage of the edges of Geisha's hitbox, the speed of it as well. Just very, very nicely done here. But we have reached the opposite gate, so this is looking like a tie here. I do think that the cheerleader support just single-handedly changed the trajectory of this match. And yeah, getting a tie here against Alf is huge, especially after that first round. Points don't matter if you are able to win 3 rounds out of 4, out of 5. If you're able to win 3 rounds, it doesn't matter what the scores are. So bringing it back, it's definitely possible for Fennel to bring this back. After that first round, it was at this point in the game, it was just, a lost first round. If they're able to get better, if they're able to get a draw next match, great. that is, or if Hasha is able to get a draw here, great. It does it still keeps, Zeta having won that first round, but we, it won't give more points, and it won't give another round to Zeta, which is really the game that Fennel needs to be and is playing. So let me get to the second half of round 2. And yeah, thank you for joining. I promise that none of you guys are late or, it does not matter when you join the stream. I am always very happy to see you. But we will be heading into the second half of round 2. Hasha is going to ban Seer and Mercenary here, and we are going to lock in the Wildling and the Psychologist. I would say with that, we might be anticipating a Dream Witch here from Hasha. We could definitely see another Geisha or a Bloody Queen with that Opera Singer ban. And with that Antiquarian ban locked in, Zeta is going to be able to lock in that Priestess right away. So Priestess kind of overlooked with those first 2 bans, as well as the third being used. The third and the fourth actually have both been used to try and counter Kazuneko. Kazuneko is known for his Antiquarian, known for his Prospector. So with those last 2 bans having been used, that is kind of the anti-Zeta meta, the anti-Zeta strategy. So definitely understand where Hasha's coming from, but with that Priestess locked in, that is huge for Zeta coming into this round. They are at the round advantage. If they're able to get better than a draw here, then that would be just a second round in their court. But it does depend on who Hasha decides to play, because he can go Dream Witch here. He can also go Bloody Queen, I feel, is a good choice here. As well as the Geisha, obviously, as we've just seen. I don't think Hasha has a Hermit. Hermit, in theory, is good on this map. Night Watch struggles at this point, and when you do need better than a draw, I would worry for a Night Watch pick at this time. We could also go with a Breaking Wheel. I don't recall if Hasha has a Breaking Wheel, but that is still a pretty good option, especially with the Priestess on the team. So Breaking Wheel, a good choice here, but we are going to go with the Bloody Queen, which also is not bad. It does render Fiona's kind of capabilities on those bridges a little bit less detrimental, just because Bloody Queen can also traverse the center, river. That's the word. But yeah, definitely Bloody Queen, not a terrible choice here with that Priestess, but still Priestess is definitely going to be an issue. So spawns here are definitely working around that Priestess, as well as just trying to throw Hasha off. With 3 survivors kind of in a similar area, it's really going to be difficult to find the Priestess or even the Psychologist. We might be going to Psychologist, but once again, Doliso is in a really good area here to set up 2 support portals right off the bat. Priestess does start with 2 portals, so having her just right at the river there, she's immediately going to be able to place a portal through the river, as well as maybe into 2-story, possibly to the roller coaster stop that Kazuneko has spawned at, where he could be able to turn off the light. There's a lot of possibilities here for Priestess support. She is such a versatile support character, and especially on Moonlit, it really is a playground for her. It's not a great situation here. I feel like the best first chase here is going to be that Psychologist. Maybe the Acrobat, but Acrobat as well as Acrobat Kazuneko is not going to be fun, especially for a Bloody Queen. Acrobat is very useful against the Bloody Queen's hitbox, as well as the mirror as well. Kind of turning in just the wrong direction is detrimental to the mirror aim, and Acrobat is able to switch directions or switch sides of the hunter very quickly with those bombs. But we will be seeing I missed the traits there. So okay, it's going to be Trump card, and it looks like possibly Excitement there on the Bloody Queen. I'm not sure if that's Excitement or Teleport, but I do think it might be Excitement. So that is a little bit of an interesting choice here. We are going to attempt to cut off Kazuneko on the stop there. It's not really going to work though, and that mirror is going to be in cooldown when Kazuneko takes the slide. So definitely a really strong position here for a first chase. Kazuneko just keeping that distance away from Hasha. We are getting a little bit close here, as well as that mirror is up, so that mirror will be activated, and we are going to get our first hit. I don't think I actually didn't see if Kazuneko was able to turn off that stop. I do think he's in a position to be able to take the coaster, though, unless, because we don't have blink here is the thing. Hasha kind of trying to bait out kind of the fear of that blink, but we are working with excitement here, so that blink is just not going to be able to be used. We weren't able to turn off the stop, though, so that's very good for Hasha here, not as good for Kazuneko. Placing that mirror in the center here just to try and play some mind games with Kazuneko, try and catch him in the radius of it. But once again, we are taking this same loop. Kazuneko definitely still has a lot of resources in the air to utilize. Hasha not having broken that pallet, and the support portals are here still, but the excitement is going to be popped to counter them, and Kazuneko is going to go down. A little bit unfortunate that the flywheel was not able to come out there, but at that point, I feel like maybe Kazuneko was expecting a teleport, not an excitement, or teleport to have been brought, but we are going to pressure it. Pressure Dolisu off of that cipher. Unfortunately, I do believe there were support portals there just to help him get out of the area. So very nicely done, not allowing Hasha as much map control as he might have hoped. Mochi is going to come in for the rescue here, does have the boar on the wildling to work with, is just going to get off that boar as well, to get out of, or to take that hit, get a safer rescue. Kazuneko, very nice flywheel there, unfortunately not quite able to break enough distance to get away from that mirror hitbox. So Kazuneko will be going down once again in just a moment here. Cypher Rush, honestly, not that bad. They did lose a significant amount of progress with not only having the wildling on the team, but also with Priestess placing portals and not decoding. That definitely put kind of a wrench in the decoding progress, but we do have all 4 ciphers started here, or all 5 ciphers started with one of them completed, another one at 90%. This is definitely that kind of cipher rush that can creep up behind you, and that's exactly what we are going to see coming into the later stage of the match. Dolisu coming in for this rescue, just trying to waste as much time as possible before Hasha is able to continue attacking. But with a nicely placed mirror there, Kazuneko not able to activate that bomb in time, we are going to have him down and sent back to the manor. But our final 3 ciphers are all past the halfway mark. I do think we have accelerated decoding now, so it's going to be a very fast process to getting those taken care of. It looks like, who did we heal? Because Mochi, either way, I did not catch when the psychologist used her heal. I think it was used on Dolisu, actually, after the rescue. So very nicely, again, that is a very big advantage of having the psychologist on the team, is her ability to distance heal, especially on a map like Red Church where it's very difficult to get to your teammates to heal them. But already we are going to have our first hit in on Dolisu. Still have Flywheel to utilize. No portals remaining though, but it looks like Hasha's actually going to change target. Very conscious of the Cypher Rush. Knows that if he delays too long here, continues to chase the Priestess, it's very likely that those ciphers will continue to decode kind of unhindered. So yeah, very, very smart here to just kind of try and switch targets here. Look for those decoding ciphers. And it looks like we are actually going to find Hamato on that kind of center cipher here. Very nice flywheel there just to avoid the mirror hit. Force Hasha to use the teleport here. And we will be heading into a very strong kiting area though. Hasha does not have access to a skill yet. Yeah, still has excitement. It is on cooldown for about another 25 seconds, which honestly isn't the worst thing in the world. But with it being able to get that hit in on Hametsu is a very, very good thing. However, Priestess was able to get a portal all the way across the map there. It doesn't look like we were actually able to help anybody out with it, but that portal is going to be broken here. And we are... Oh, no, were we able to get Hamatsu across the map? I think that's what happened. Anyway, My bad for losing track there for a moment, but we will be heading back towards the fourth stop. This is the thing with, Priestess and Bloody Queen matches. The positions change so often just because of the mobility of these survivors, the mobility of these hunters. But we are heading back onto Dolisu here. A lot of target switching. Those ciphers have been able to get pretty steadily decoding, though. Looks like we are looking at our second to last cipher being popped. Nice flywheel, but with the Priestess's slow vault speed, Dolisu is going to go down. So a little bit unfortunate there, but our final cipher is at 69% right now, and Hamato has returned to it, so that cipher will be primed by the time Dolisu is rescued, but with a very, very well-timed teleport there, Hasha switching traits, we are going to return to Hamato, who has no kiting abilities to work with here, is just going to go straight down with that flywheel still on cooldown for another, it looks like about 40 seconds. Dolisu is going to be able to get rescued here, and Mochi and Dolisu definitely have enough time to at least heal one of them. I'm not sure. Well, they have about another 8 seconds. And with the Priestess's fast healing speed, it does look like we are going to be able to heal up Mochi before dispersing. Hasha definitely still going to go after Dolisu here. Does want to kind of target the injured survivor, at least secure the draw that they need to tie the round, if not the win. At this point, we might actually be looking at a 3 or a 4-man elimination as long as Hasha is able to make it back to that side of the map. That cipher is sitting at 78%. It's definitely possible that we would be able to down Hamato in that time. If not also Mochi. But with Dolisu's heal, that's definitely going to be much more difficult. But a flywheel there just to stay out of the range of the mirror, and we are going to be heading towards it. Looks like the coaster is in fact there, but Hamato is just going to sit on top of that coaster, not going to take it just yet. It looks like we might be waiting for Mochi to take a hit here. But Mochi able to get on the Wildling Boar, does have another point of damage to be able to take on the Boar, as well as being at full health himself. Oh, okay, yeah, we are going to use the Wildling Dash just to try and get some distance from the mirror. Unfortunately, it's not that fast, so Hasha is going to be able to catch up, but so much distance broken here in the time that it took to teleport back, and so well done. It does look like we're actually going to start a new cipher here. Hamato decoding in the tent and really just forcing Hasha. The problem here for Hasha is that we aren't cipher locked, which is, it's a little bit difficult to get cipher locked on Moonlit River Park. It's definitely possible. I've seen it happen before with the ciphers kind of in the center. And if all the ciphers are on one side of the map, if all the ciphers are kind of in a straight line, it's definitely a lot easier to get cipher locked, but it's in that same breath very hard to get cipher locked on this map, and ZETA has taken full advantage of that. So yeah, forcing Hasha in between these two ciphers it's not it's not as if the ciphers are on clear other sides of the map, but as we're seeing here, Hasha hesitant to send that mirror out, knowing that if he changes targets for just a second, Mochi will return to that cipher. And ZETA is definitely prepared to be patient here to aim for that draw. At this point, it's very likely a 3 to a 4-man elimination. If they're able to get that cipher popped, I would say a 3-man elimination. Just considering the skills of the survivors, or Psychologist has nothing to protect herself after the cipher pop. Wildling has the Boar, but that Boar gets less and less powerful. But it does look like Hasha is going to commit to the Psychologist, knowing that if he's able to get this 3-man elimination, then it doesn't matter if the cipher pops here. It's very unlikely for Wildling, who does have a slower run speed, to be able to get to a gate, open it, and escape in the time that it will take for Hamato to go down after the cipher pop. So very good game sense here from Hasha, just being very confident with his decision making here and playing like a tournament. If it's rank, maybe it's a little bit different. You need that 4-man elimination, so there will be a lot more, blood and sweat and tears involved. But Hasha, knowing that he only needs a 3-man elimination, it's okay to play for that 3-man elimination. And just great game sense there. We are going to continue to pursue Hamato after the Cypher Pop, and with nothing to work with, Hamato is going to go down. Mochi was able to make it to the other gate, but we are actually going to go for that 4-man here, not settling for just a 3-man elimination. Hasha teleporting right over to that other gate. Mochi does have the boar to work with, but as we're seeing in that bottom corner, the boar time reduces pretty drastically with every time that it's used, and with Mochi having taken quite a few boars already, we're already looking at that boar only having a quarter of the time remaining. So yeah, that boar is about to run out here. Hasha with detention will be able to down Wildling in just one hit, so it is only a matter of time before that happens. Yep, right here, Mochi, again, not quite fast enough. Wildling has, I believe, a 30% movement speed boost reduction, which is pretty drastic, honestly. Or it's not 30%, it's something along those lines. He runs slower than the average survivor. So it's not usually the biggest deal, but it can definitely be a pretty big deal. But it does look like we will be getting that 1-man escape. Hamato able to open the opposite gate and will be leaving through it. So it was either a 1-man escape or a 1-man escape there. I think maybe Hasha could have afforded to chair Hamato and then teleport. It would have definitely been a lot closer, but it would have had that security of not having Hamato self-heal. In the event that Hamato was chaired, it would also definitely have been possible for Mochi to get on the boar and start riding towards the center of the map in preparation for that teleport from Hasha. So yeah, it really is, it was very capable for that match to have kind of gone wrong in both directions. But a 3-man elimination is going to secure that round for Fennel. So, they could have definitely pushed for the 4-man elimination there, but when you only need the 3-man to secure the round, it's not necessary. But yeah, with that, we will be heading into round 3. Map being Leo's Memory, which is definitely just a fun map in general. But I do wonder who Zeta's hunter, like the hunter bands for Hasha, will be, because Dream Witch is not bad on Leo's Memory. Bloody Queen is not bad on Leo's Memory. Obviously, Opera Singer is a ban here, but will we ban the Dream Witch? Hasha is a very, very strong Dream Witch main, but Dream Witch is still Dream Witch, very capable to counter her, or very possible to counter her. And yeah, it is just kind of a rock and a hard place here for Zeta survivors. Then again, if they do ban the Bloody Queen, that does leave the Dream Witch open. I would say maybe their best strategy here will be to ban the Bloody Queen, deal with the Dream Witch, because the Dream Witch is easier to counter than the Bloody Queen, just passively. So yeah, I think in this case, it really is ban Dream Witch, or ban Bloody Queen, take the Dream Witch, and counter comp her to hell is really going to be the strategy in this round, because it's much more possible. Bloody Queen's only hard counters are Seer, who's just been nerfed, and I guess, Perfumer-ish, not really. Pretty much every survivor, at this point in the meta, every survivor is just kind of annoying. With the Mercenary, it's easier to ban for Bloody Queen than it is to ban for Dream Witch. But I would say we might even see a Prospector ban coming out here first, knowing that Kazuneko is a very strong Prospector, and Prospector is very helpful against a Dream Witch. But we will be banning, speaking of Prospector, there he is. We will be banning the Seer and the Barmaid first here, really not looking for those hard Dream Witch counters. Barmaid is possibly the most intense Dream Witch counter here. We definitely saw her at full performance in previous rounds, and this will be no different. Banning that Barmaid is a very, very good decision from Hasha, but it does kind of telegraph that Dream Witch. We could maybe go with something else here, but yeah. We will be banning that Bloody Queen, possibly taking the Dream Witch. Hasha could also go with maybe a Geisha. I hesitate to say Night Watch. But Dream Witch does seem to be a pretty strong contender here. But with the banning of that priestess, we're seeing what happened in the previous match in reverse here, with the Antiquarian being one of the first couple of locks in here. So I would say we might be seeing a different survivor. I think Hamato has an Antiquarian. Yes, Hamato is going to be playing the Antiquarian with Kazuneko on the Prospector. I thought I remembered Hamato playing Antiquarian at one point. Wasn't sure. But yeah, we are here. And yeah, with Delisu on the Acrobat, this is a very, very strong anti-Dream Witch comp. I do wonder if because of how strong this comp is that Hasha won't play Dream Witch. But yeah, it's definitely a difficult position to be in. So we will see who Hasha decides to lock in. It's not a fun position to be in when your main is Dream Witch and she gets counter comp this hard. And it's not even as if Hasha wasn't banning Dream Witch counters, because, you know, we did have the Barmaid and the Seer banned first, with, you know, the Mercenary and the Antiquarian being locked in right away. But we are going to go with that Dream Witch, which is scary here. Playing Dream Witch in this situation against ZETA, who are very strong survivors, Kazuneko, who both of the survivors that Hasha banned in the previous match to try and avoid Kazuneko have been picked with the banning of that Priestess, as well as that, with the banning of Priestess, Seer, Barmaid, it really did, you know, lock in both the Antiquarian and the Prospector. This is not going to be a fun comp for Hasha to go against. Yeah, it's just not going to be easy to get this win here. I think really Fennel might be trying to depend on their survivors for this match, and they did. You know, they did just get that that draw in the previous match against Alf, but without that cheer, well, no, other team. Yeah, it is just, it'll be what it'll be, more or less. But we will be getting into the spawns here. It does look like we might be looking at either the Prospector or the Acrobat as our first chase. Hasha has shown that he's not afraid to chase Kazuneko first, but I would say maybe a little bit more afraid of Prospector, especially with how strong a Prospector is against a Dream Witch, as well as the fact that Kazuneko is in a very good kiting area here, has the entirety of that factory to work with. Yeah, it would really be... I mean, there isn't really a great first chase here because Delisu, I believe it was Delisu, has also spawned in a very strong kiting area, Mercenary in the center of the map, but it is a Mercenary against a Dream Witch. You really don't want to chase that. Interestingly, though, we will be carrying Blink and Insolence. So, and Detention, but Blink and Insolence, no Trump card, no Patroller here. I'm a little bit surprised about that. It is a very aggressive Dream Witch build. It does mean that there's more leech capabilities faster in the game, which is good for a Dream Witch. Just having as many survivors on the field, or as many leeches on the field as possible. And it looks like we will be going for Acrobat on the first chase here. So Acrobat is as well very, very strong against a Dream Witch. With those bombs, has the capability of just kind of getting out of the way of the Dream Witch's hitbox at pretty much all times. The problem is, though, that we have already seen Dolisu kite Hasha for an extremely long period of time. So I do wonder if, I mean, Hasha is a very, very good Dream Witch. Already we are looking at a much earlier first hit than we did in the previous match. The rotation in the first match was just absolutely incredible there, and the fact that Hasha wasn't even able to find anyone until late in the match. But, of course, we did sniff out the Acrobat right away, and he has, you know, been cursed with the first chase. But Blink is up in 5 seconds here, so I would say we will probably be seeing a Blink hit first down. But just playing around this area, it looks like trying to get the leech into a good position, but a beautiful firebomb there, making it so that Hasha won't be able to... Well, So Hasha was able to switch to... I actually don't know how firebombs affect a Dream Witch. I guess just not able to use Blink is really the main thing, because obviously we were still able to switch with the skills canceled. I don't know how that works, but I guess it did work out. for a period of time with just a few more seconds. Delisu is going to go down, but those extra few seconds of containment that were bought by forcing that switch, just wasting as much time as possible there. Blink hasn't been forced out yet, but we do have 2 ciphers popped already for ZETA, so that is a very good start here. With this second 2 ciphers are past 60%. One of them has just been started, but they're not looking too bad. Delisu is on first chair here, but Mercenary coming through with an elbow pad just to get to the chair in time is going to take a hit in on the way there, but that does still allow us to get a pretty clean rescue. Unfortunately, Delisu is going to take a blink hit there, so we have forced blink out of at least, I do think that was the spawn follower. So a little bit, a little bit unfortunate that it was the blink from the spawn follower and not the blink from a leech, but in any case, we are still following Delisu, so we will be able to confirm that second chair. Delisu does still have another chair to sit on, and with these last 2 ciphers started, they haven't been completed yet. I do think they may be healing up Mochi? Yes, no, maybe. We actually can't see them at this time, but yeah, we haven't quite continued. Okay, no, we are continuing to decode that cipher, which is now passing 60%. We've started the final cipher, but haven't returned to it yet, with Kazuneko being forced to come out and rescue here. We are kind of taking our time getting there, so I do think they are going to sell Delisu here, which is not a bad strategy. It means that Kazuneko is not going to get injured going in for that rescue. And yeah, it doesn't sacrifice any of the survivors. It does, kind of pull their attention away, but we are still able to focus on decoding and focus on not getting injured. But Mochi is going to be sniffed out here by, oh no, we leached Hamato, but we've been able to get on to, am I getting my colors mixed up? I think I'm getting my colors mixed up. But in any case, that is a leech, yes? On Mochi? Either way, Mochi does have a pretty good use of this loop here, does still have 1 elbow pad left to utilize as well, and we are about 50% of the way through the final cipher, so with that elbow pad, I think Mochi should be able to contain until the cipher pop. Yeah, it does look like we are going to... Okay, yeah, we did leech Hamato. I wasn't getting my leeches mixed up. And we are going to... It looks like we're actually going to switch targets here. So trying to force Hamato away from that cipher. I don't think Kazuneko... Yeah, Kazuneko has not been able to return cipher until now. It looks like we're actually going to continue decoding both of those ciphers here. The leech is close by, though. So that is going to pressure Kazuneko now, and Hasha is just going to continue moving in that direction. I think the last 2 ciphers are well, they're on the same side of the map, but they are actually across the map from each other, so that is good for ZETA here, having that distance, and we are going to, at least, again, we're doing a lot of target switching here. Hasha trying to establish some map control, but it looks like ZETA kind of has that map control thing a little bit under wraps here, with almost none of the survivors are even entering Hasha's line of sight, meaning that they are free to decode on the other side of the map. Again, like, looking at the screen, we can't see them. And with the amount of distance that Kazuneko has been able to pull, Hasha is just going to have the cipher popped on him, and that is just a little bit unfortunate there. Kazuneko is going to get hit with a beautiful blink through a wall there, but it is just too little too late. That last, or not the last cipher, but the exit gate is getting decoded, finished decoded right here, and that is going to be a draw. So not a bad start to that first round here, getting a draw, again, better than a 3-man or 4-man elimination, but it does mean that if, it means that if fellow survivors are able to get better than a draw, then they will be able to take the second round in their favor. However, it also means that they get better than a draw against Alf. The main kind of rock in a hard place that Fennel is going to be in here is they do have opportunity to ban 2 of Alf's mains, but do you continue to ban the opera singer? Do you ban the geisha as well? They were able to get a draw against Elf's geisha in the previous match, but that was also because of the map, and that was mainly because of the cheerleader, and I would not be surprised if cheerleader could possibly be one of those first couple bans. I would be surprised. I would be a little bit surprised. I would understand it if she isn't, because you do want to ban the seer, you do want to ban the mercenary, and I do think that FL is in a position where they need to be very aggressive. But hello, Wuchung's Finger, thank you for the follow, and I hope you're enjoying the stream. But yeah, thank you for the follow, and yeah. I don't actually have my headphones on right now, so I almost didn't notice that, but yeah, I'm really good at this, streaming. Anyway, I forgot to actually fast forward to the next match, so that's my bad. But yeah, I would say because Fennel is in a position where they need to be aggressive here, they need to continue the win streak. They're 1-1 right now, so it's really anybody's game. But yeah, we are going to see Seer as well as Toy Merchant are actually going to be banned here, which is a little bit interesting. If Fennel doesn't take this opportunity to lock into the cheerleader, I would understand it, but I would also be a little bit surprised because they've already been able to utilize her so strongly against Alf. She hasn't really made it into first pick status yet. I think because she's so new, she doesn't have as familiar of a skill set as Aeroplanus does. But we'll have to see, because I think that locking her in first tier would be really good for Fennel. Because again, they've already been able to utilize her, but we are actually going to go a little bit tankier. We are going to bring out the new character in the Aeroplanist and the forward as well. So it's fun to see here, that we're looking at a beta game survivor, like not even season 1. Forward was in the base release of the game, and Aeroplanist 2 was released a few months ago. They are going to be able to lock in that cheerleader third though with an antiquarian ban. I guess again, I do understand it, but I feel like that cheerleader, it is situational. That's the thing. It is a little bit situational. How effective the cheerleader can be, because if she isn't given the opportunities to support a kite, then she won't be able to come in and support the kite. But we've already seen how aggressive Fennel is willing to be with that cheerleader, having her come out with 4 ciphers remaining, 4 or 5 ciphers remaining. It's a little bit of a risk there, but yeah, I don't know, I feel like having that cheerleader on the bans list might have been good for Alf, but then again, we might be looking at playing the Guard 26. I would be very excited to see Alf Bonbon come out here. I'm not sure if that's going to happen. We could definitely lock in a Bloody Queen. Yeah, I think Bloody Queen and Bonbon are the most likely options here. But yeah, I feel like Guard 26 isn't bad on Leo's memory by any stretch of the imagination. And Bloody Queen is just very consistent. I think we could possibly be looking to tie the round here with... Oh! Okay. We're going to go with Soul Weaver here. So kind of keeping FL on their toes. I don't think they would have been expecting a Soul Weaver, especially out of Alf. They could still mean that they've brought Flywheel, which can be very useful against the Soul Weaver, but then again, Broken Windows is just as useful against Soul Weaver, so doesn't really matter if they've brought Flywheel. I'm saying just to keeping in mind the Soul Weaver's chip damage capability. Yeah, you can Flywheel that. So yeah, but Soul Weaver's definitely not bad on Leo's memory at all. There's a lot of walls for her to... There's a lot of open areas, but there's also a lot of areas where she can just spam webs, go a million miles an hour, which is good against the cheerleader. So cheerleader's really going to have to stay in open areas, which isn't going to be a problem for her. But yeah, as long as she's able to open kite, I think cheerleader's fine when it comes to Soul Weaver's speed. I think where the cheerleader's really going to suffer is if she's not able to pull enough distance and ends up getting caught in that kind of slow mode that she enters after her dash. and that would give Soul Weaver an opportunity to catch up. But I'm definitely interested to see if Soul Weaver could be a potential contender for a cheerleader counter coming into Koa, because we will be entering Koa in probably about a month, maybe 3 weeks, but I would say about a month, maybe a month and a half. Yeah, that's kind of a vague time frame, but somewhere along those lines, I would say, is going to be Call of the Abyss. So that's definitely something these teams are keeping in mind. But we are going to actually have Flywheel on both the cheerleader and the forward, which does make sense even without like a specific counter in mind. Flywheel is very good for these close range harassers. Cheerleader, definitely a close range harasser. Forward, also very much close range harasser. We are going to see the Aeroplanist with Tide Turner here and the Lawyer with Broken Windows, once again taking advantage of a speed boost. But coming into round 3 here, we are looking for a tie at worst case. Alf is going to be looking for at least a 3-man elimination, and FL will be looking for at least a 4-man elimination, or 4-man escape. 3-man escape. At least a 3-man escape here. So both teams are really just looking to win, which, is pretty normal conditions. But yeah, we are going to get the cheerleader as our first chase here. Definitely a lot of areas. Alf already using that web just to go as fast as possible here. And Kit is going to be taking a hit here. And forward coming in to harass very early on, going in for a stun on Alf. It does look like we have brought Blink, so that is going to be up in just a moment. But yeah, there's been a lot of distance. We can't even see Kit on the screen anymore. Looks like he has been able to rotate just very, very far away. And forward is going, or no, not forward. My God, that's Lawyer. Lawyer is going to take the containment here. So very nicely done by Fennel, kind of rotating into the Lawyer. It's a little bit unfortunate, that the decoder is going to get interrupted here. But Lawyer is still a very good container in his own right. We are going to get caught a little bit out in the open there, with Alf's Soul Weaver speed boost, which, Lawyer is fast, but in an open area like that against Soul Weaver, getting that massive speed boost and a beautiful blink there right through the wall. And Cat is going to go down. Nothing to utilize there. The pallet was not close enough. And no flywheel as well. Nothing to really avoid that blink hit. So very nicely done by Alf. But our ciphers are looking very good right now. This is still looking like a draw territory, which isn't the worst situation to be in, Getting a draw here, ZETA does still have the point advantage, and the rounds are still even. So getting a tie here is not the worst thing in the world. What Alf really wants to avoid is getting a 3 or a 4-man escape, because that would mean that Fennel wins the round, and that's obviously not something that they want to do. But a hit on... Okay, no, that was on the Aeroplanist. For a second, I thought it might have been a share hit. That would have been much worse. We were able to get a hit in on Aeroplanist there, but Lawyer does still have a second chair to sit through. We have 3 ciphers at past 70%. 1 cipher about to pop there. The thing is that we haven't started our final cipher yet. We haven't had enough survivors decoding in order to be able to do that. But that final cipher is going to be started now, which isn't bad. Accelerated decoding did just activate, and we are looking at another cipher about to pop. Their cipher rush really is not bad right now. Even for a potential 3-man, with a potential 3-man endgame. I wouldn't say 3-man escape. Or it would be a 4-man endgame if they're able to rescue this in time. It does look like Mono P is coming into the area. It does have the football to be able to get to the chair in time. But we are going to get our first chip hit in there. So that does have a pretty short cooldown. But Mono P is going to come in for the stun. It's a relatively short stun. We are still able to just completely bypass that body block and go in for the down. Alf looking for that second hit, but we are going to flywheel. Unfortunately, it's not going to be in time to dodge that chip, and Mono P is going... Oh no, Mono P is going to go down there. Is going to get chaired first. Just wanting to get him on the chair as fast as possible because, he does have chair time. Not wanting to kind of sit around and wait. It's much easier, or it's much more comfortable to down somebody who's dead on chair after the cipher pop if they had managed to pop the cipher during the time that Lawyer was sitting on the ground. much more comfortable to chase somebody who's already dead on chair than it is to chase somebody who has not been chaired yet. So good game sense there by Alf. Of course, we were still able to get Mono P on chair. Cheerleader? Or was that the Cypher Pop? Good God. Yeah, we are going to get a very nice stuff there, but of course the Cypher Pop is going to disrupt that. We do have 2 survivors still up, but Alf is still going to be kind of locked to this area. We do still have Trump card left to utilize, though. So we can definitely teleport on the opposite gate, but it looks like we may just opt to chase Umpi for now. And we are going to actually use that blink here. So teleport's not going to be an option during this endgame, but this is still... yeah, 99% chance is going to be at least that 3-man elimination that Alf needs to win the round. And was looking for. So very nicely done there. It does, yeah, Cheerleader is going to be able to get that gate open in time. Alf obviously does not have teleport to utilize, but the round is still going to go for Zeta. Once again, you do not have to play for a 4-man, God, that Violetta speed boost is, can get kind of insane. It's like, that's, yeah, way more than Duo speed pill. That's this. But that round is going to go to Zeta. Once again, you do not have to play for the 4-man elimination if you don't need it. As long as you're able to just get the result that you need in order to win the round, then, that's all is well, that's end well. But we will be heading into round 4 here. Zeta has 2 rounds under their belt. FL has 1. If FL is able to tie or draw this round, then they will be able to push it into round 5. If they're able to tie or win this round, they will be able to push it into round 5. If Zeta is able to win this round, then it will be over, and Zeta will be continuing to the finals. But with it being Chinatown, definitely expected that Smiley Face ban. Smiley Face is very, very good on Chinatown. And both Hasha and Alf have a very strong Smiley Face. So I would expect that for both of these rounds here. Also banning the Dream Witch. Dream Witch, again, very good on Chinatown. Much better than she is on Leo's Memory. So not wanting to deal with that Dream Witch. And counter comping, it looks like they have been pretty, Bloody Queen is pretty much counter comped here with the Seer, and then Toy Merchant and Aeroplanist working to just keep as much distance away from the Hunter as possible. And Coordinator with her gun does make her just a very solid solo kiter or a very solid rescuer. So, one limited time offer, 1 use only, but she is still very strong. But we are going to go with the Geisha instead of the Bloody Queen, which does kind of have the same counters as the Bloody Queen would against this comp. Geisha is a little bit better, or I guess no, because Geisha and Bloody Queen really do have this same capability of not map control, but like area control. I am a little bit interested that Acrobat wasn't locked in here. I think that Zeta did just want to have that Toy Merchant and the Aeroplanist in just to keep a good distance. Coordinator as well, very solid, and Seer obviously crucial. I didn't note the first 2 picks here because they aren't going to be banned after this round. If we do end up continuing to round 5, there aren't bans implemented after the 3rd round. Or first 2 pick bans implemented after the 3rd round. So does not matter that we are locking in that Seer first. It's still will be available for round 5. So much less of a risk there. Looks like we are possibly going to end up going for that Coordinator on first chase. Toy Merchant was placed in the hotel area, and that loop is very, very easy just to destroy the Hunter within. So I would have been very surprised. I would be very surprised if Hasha ends up taking the Toy Merchant as a first chase. I would say very likely Coordinator will be trying to take that first chase. Possibly Seer as well. We could definitely chase. I feel like Aeroplanist is a little bit relatively weak here. He's not going to be able... Well, he could rotate over to Toy Merchant with that spawn, but it would be much more difficult. definitely possible, especially for an aeroplanist to do that because of the 3 jetpacks. You know, they do work like hooks. Elbow pads make transitioning a lot easier. But against the Geisha, it'll be very difficult to kind of counter rotate in that direction. And use the Toy Merchant's loop. So yeah, relatively speaking, the weakest first chase here. But with that spawn point, I feel like Kazuneko on the coordinator is going to kind of get in the way. Kazuneko is very good at that. Getting in the way of the kite, just taking the kite, taking the hunter. It looks like we may be looking for that aeroplanist, though. Hasha kind of having the same thought that I did, that aeroplanist is the weakest target here. Having that tide turner as well, he is a relatively vulnerable target, and it looks like Mochi not going to anticipate the direction Hasha was going in, but a beautiful use of that hunter. But it looks like Mochi actually getting a little bit stuck there against the side of the roof, so that is just a little bit unfortunate. Hasha able to get a very early first hit under 30 seconds into the match. It's kind of like a mirror image of Miraikon in the first round, getting that under 30 seconds first hit. Just a very crucial misstep, but a beautiful owl there. Of course, we are seeing the Seer nerf take effect. That attack recovery was 30% reduced, so Hasha having a much less difficult time continuing this chase on Mochi. We are going to get a hit in here. Again, no flywheel to utilize and not nearly close enough to that pallet to try and use it as a shield. Mochi will be going down here. They do not have a tide turner, which would be a bigger deal if Mochi didn't still have a jetpack left to utilize, and also Kazuneko still has that gun and is coming in hot for that rescue. Hasha is going to butterfly over, catch up very, very quickly here, but Kazuneko kind of has just full reign to use that gun. We do have Blink, but we're not actually going to try and use it to Terror Shock here. Kazuneko is just going to take the hit and actually not using the gun yet. Possibly, I don't know. I mean, definitely just saving that gun for later can be very useful. Mochi, unfortunately, not able to use that catapult just yet, because we do still need to wait for that cooldown, but still having that jetpack in play is very, very useful here. Unfortunately, in this open area, Hasha can definitely blink to catch up. It's a little bit risky here taking this loop, going to drop that pallet, but Hasha not even needing to use a blink, but we are going to go, missing the hit once again, and finally downing. That was an incredible just misfortune of Geisha's hitbox, missing that blink hit before the pallet, or missing the hit before the pallet, missing the blink hit, which would have had no attack recovery if it had connected, but just facing the wrong direction. Just a little bit unfortunate there for Hasha, but Mochi still went down, but Dolisu is in the area here, does have a decoy, for for Mochi to use, once he gets off chair, if he's rescued, but it looks like Dolisu may actually just be here for moral support, giving tinnitus at the chair and not actually going into rescue, so that does preserve the health of the team. Especially with Kazuneko having taken a hit in on the first chair. We don't need to have another survivor injured. Kazuneko does still have the gun though, and it has been revealed that Hasha has Blink and not Excitement just yet. You know, we do have Trump card to work with, but with another 80 seconds until Blink is off cooldown, not going to be as easy to switch to Excitement and stuff that rescue. But we are going to get our first hit in on Dolisu there. But we do still have those catapults in the area, and Dolisu is going to take full advantage of them, and just glide over to the next kiting area. Hasha, though, does still have butterflies left to utilize. Very nice flywheel there. Very, very nicely done there by Dolisu. We do have another butterfly in the area. Dolisu staring back at the hunter, but with that reduced speed that comes with staring back at the hunter, or staring back at the geisha, Dolisu is going to go down, but we have one Cypher remaining. That Cypher is going to be primed by the time Dolisu is rescued. Kazuneko, hard at work decoding at Hametu, still has full health, does not have borrowed time. Looks like we're actually taking a very long way around here, going for that chair. Very, very confident work there by Hasha. But we will be using that gun to get a free secure rescue, and that Cypher is primed here. We are going to be able to down Neko, but it doesn't matter here. We will be able to pop that cipher. Both survivors in the area having that borrowed time. Hametu still has not seen the hunter again, so Seer is at full health, but did use the owl earlier in the match. Isn't going to be able to use it here because he hasn't seen the hunter the whole time. But Dolisu able to contain just around these 2 pallets for the entirety of the post-cipher pop. We are going to get at the very least a draw here, unless Kazuneko actually heading to the other gate right now. Or is that the open gate? Yeah, Dolisu is going to take a hit in here. A little bit unfortunate. Yeah, Kazuneko was just heading to the open gate there. A little bit unfortunate that he wasn't there yet. Dolisu may have been able to make a push for dungeon, but a draw is still a very good result here, especially with how many hunters Alf has to use on this map as well. Because that is something to think about coming into this next round. We are... Alf has, let's see, let's think about it. Obviously Opera Singer we have to ban, so that's 1 ban out of 3. Second, Geisha, obviously, very good on Chinatown. Have to ban that. Bloody Queen, maybe, but out of the 3 bans that we have available, I would say Bonbon or Clown has to be your 3rd ban. Or you don't ban Geisha, you ban Bonbon and Clown, and then you have to go against Geisha again. It's already been proven. Well, I mean, Fennel, if Fennel wants to aim for a draw, they can definitely aim for a draw, and that would take us into round 5, but it would still not give Zeta another point. Well, actually, let me think. Zeta obviously has the point advantage here. I don't think it's as drastic as it was at the start, but it very well could be. I don't think they're actually going to show where the score is, and I haven't been keeping track of it, so that's my bad. But, yeah, I would say out of their 3, you get 3 bans, one of them has to be Opera Singer, so it's really 2 bans. They can either ban... It really just depends if they want to go against a Bonbon, or if they want to go against a Geisha, or if they want to go against the Clown. But we are going to kind of preemptively ban that Seer, just to kind of try and avoid the Geisha counter comp, I think. Oh, okay. I was completely off the mark on those bans. We're going to... Okay, so we are going to counter comp the Clown here. We're going to ban the Bloody Queen and the Wax Artist. I guess willing to take the Geisha again, because, again, they are able to get that draw. So I guess that could be what they're working for. But with that batter as well, we are counter-comping the Geisha. And yeah, because... And the Clown. We're obviously counter-comping the Clown with that Entomologist there. Really not a situation that you want to play Clown in. With the batter as well, batter can also knock Clown out of the dash. So any survivor that can just kind of counter the dash. Antiquarian as well. It's a little bit smaller of a window of opportunity, but yeah, that's 3 counters towards... both well, actually really all of the hunters that Alf plays, not guard 26. I think they might be willing to take the guard 26, which, I mean, Bonbon's not bad on Chinatown is the thing. It's not like it's a particularly bad or like But yeah, we have counter-comp the Clown pretty hard, so I don't see Alf going with that. We could go Geisha. We could definitely go Bonbon. I think Bonbon might be the move here, even with the Antiquarian, who can destroy the bombs. We did actually see that yesterday, used very effectively against a Bonbon. But yeah, I feel like we are going to be looking at a guard 26, because just in terms of the safest option, Clown obviously is not safe with that Entomologist on the field. Geisha doesn't like Entomologist, doesn't like Batter, doesn't like Antiquarian. Entomologist as well can slow down Geisha Butterflies. So I would say I'm feeling guard 26. You know, I can't even say anything anymore. I just... Okay, it's not the worst option, because again, we can't... I keep getting night watched. Every day, every time. I get night watched. It's not the worst choice, because Chinatown is a good map for Nightwatch. And at worst, if Alpha is able to secure a draw, then it's fine. However, we still have the batter, who can knock the Nightwatch out of his dash. We still have the Antiquarian, who can stop the Nightwatch from attacking and isn't really affected by the wind as much. And we have Entomologist, who has that speed boost. Very strong harasser, especially on Chinatown. The most vulnerable target here is Lawyer, but Lawyer just runs fast. So yeah, it's not the greatest situation for Alf to have picked a Nightwatch. But again, Nightwatch is better on Chinatown than some of the other maps that we see him on. Like Chinatown and Eversleeping, maybe some, not anymore any other map because of the nurse. But they're relatively small enough, and they're also open enough, because Nightwatch does struggle on Red Church and Arms Factory because of the amount of walls there on the map. But we will be getting into it. If Alf is able to get a 3-man elimination, then then the rounds will go to Zeta. But hello, thank you for chatting for the first time. I hope you're enjoying the stream. And yeah, it is just an all-around a good map for the Hunter. Yeah, as long as there is not that Priestess. Which I think, yeah, was Priestess bad? I actually don't remember. I was more paying attention to Survivor locks. Anyway, yeah, it's a very good map for Hunter, just because of how open it is. There are a lot of really good loops, though. We have caught Mono P out here in the restaurant loop, which is not as strong as the hotel loop. The hotel loop is basically broken without blink. And Alf has actually brought excitement here as his only trait, which honestly is understandable because of the amount of stunners on the team. But we are going to be able to get our first hit in on Mono P there. Even with that rage activated, Mono P not taking the opportunity to stun again. And nice dodge of that ball as well from Alf. Mono P being forced to waste that. I do think it wasn't exhaust, or was rage actually activated? Oh no, I think Rage is actually active, so that ball has been exhausted. Mono P with 2, yeah, okay, Rage was activated, so that ball has been consumed. But the B's coming into play as well, just to kind of hold Alf back, and missing that ball again. I don't even know, did that hit and then just not register as a full knockback? I don't even know, because that was very close range to be a miss. I guess Mono P might not have like that instant, or the auto aim turned on. We don't have bad Cypher Rush, though, is the thing. We have all 5 Cyphers started. It's looking a little bit like a Hermit match in here. But we are going to pop our first Cypher now as I'm saying that. And our other 2 of our first 3 Cyphers are passing about 60%, heading towards 70%. We're going to get a hit in on Unpi pretty far away from the chair. Well, on the outside of the chair. Yeah, far away from the chair. And then the second hit for the down. That is not a good situation here for Fennel. Having that first rescue stuffed is just crucial to not have happen, especially with excitement here as well. We are going to sniff out the Lawyer here, though, trying to go for that rescue on Mono P. If Alf takes this hit here, that rescue can happen, but he's just not going to take the hit. We have the wind up, and we are going to use it just to pull Kit away from the chair. Is going to be able to get the rescue, though, because Lawyer can't be terror shocked. What a beautiful use of the character skill there. And Cat is in the area here as well as the Antiquarian. Beautiful stun there, not even taking that hit. Very, very nicely done here from what was almost an impossible situation. Entomologist has also healed, so this is looking so much better than it was a second ago here for Fennel. And with another disarm there, just very, very nicely done. Alf has broken that vault point, though, so just a little bit less to work with. And Mono P taking an ill-timed vault there will be going down. We're still at 3 ciphers remaining, but look at the amount of progress that we've been able to get on 2 of those 3 ciphers. That progress was not there just a moment ago with the batter's chair, but we are going to down 1 OP as well as Cat going down. No harassment in the area for this chair, and it is going to be Mono P's final chair there. He will be taking off, so that is the first out of 3 eliminations that Alf needs to win this round. A draw is not going to be a bad result, but I think we might even be looking at a 4K territory here, because with those 3 ciphers remaining, it really just depends on how long Fennel is able to avoid the chase here. And they're both injured. They need to regroup and reset. They're not going to be given that opportunity. So with the amount of pressure that we have on the map here, I think we're definitely looking at that win that Alf needs. They might be able to stretch it far enough, especially since Alf doesn't have Blink, doesn't have Teleport, is bringing Excitement. I guess it can be used against the bees, or a pallet stun, but other than that, there's really not going to be the chance to make full use of that Excitement. But we will be finding Unpi here. It looks like Kit might be going, yeah, Kit is going in for that rescue, but Alf, it will be out of attack recovery here, is just going to return to pressuring the chair, and is going to get tinnitus from that lawyer. So we are looking at 4-man elimination here for Alf. And that really is just that stuff at the beginning of the match on Unpi. But either way, this is going to be, at the very least, the 3-man that Alf needed to win that. And FL knows it. They're just going to surrender. Because, yeah, it was either, best case scenario, that's going to be a 3-man elimination. That still gives ZETA the win. A draw was really just not salvageable out of that situation. But that is going to take ZETA into the finals, with Scars as well. So if you didn't catch that stream yesterday, I know that there's a couple of new people here, so thank you for joining. I hope that you enjoyed this, at least, what you were able to catch of the stream. I will be uploading this onto YouTube, so that will be up. I think I actually managed to link it to my Twitch, so it should be on my profile somewhere. I've been posting all of the streams from this week in a playlist there for easy access. I also have old streams on there, as well as some old gameplay. That's not really that important though. But yeah. That's gonna be it for today's stream. I'll probably post a poll on my Twitter, which again, you can find that in my Twitch bio. It's Lethal Crash in case you don't care looking that much. That's where I post my stream updates. So I might do 2 streams tomorrow, but I know that people are busy with Christmas stuff, so I might just do 1 stream tomorrow and then finish IJL on Tuesday, or I'll just do 2 streams on Tuesday, but I'll probably just do 1 and 1 just because it's easier for me. But either way, I will be streaming tomorrow, probably around 3 p.m. EST. It won't be as late as it was today. But yeah, that's pretty much it from me. Hope you guys are having a happy and safe holiday, all of that. And thank you guys for joining the stream. Again, I will be here tomorrow to continue IJL. 3rd place match is going to be Fennel once again, as well as AWG. So once again, we will be seeing AWG tomorrow for the 3rd place match. Thank you all for coming once again, and that's all from me.